In this video, I want to talk about one of the biggest mistakes that I see my catchers inside of the College Ready Catcher program making. So, just for a little bit of context, what you need to understand is when catchers come into the College Ready Catcher program, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take an objective analysis of where they are right now. So, everything about them from their game to their personal skills, how well they manage a calendar, all of these things, because those things are going to need to be in alignment if they want to play college baseball. So, once we get those things kind of understood, or at least a baseline understood, the next thing we have our athletes do is they're going to start to identify goals for themselves in order to understand, okay, what is the process to get to these goals? So the way that we do it is we have all of our catchers rank they create a list of 30 schools that they would like to play at. So just for the logic of this, the green schools are a dream. So when I say a dream school, I mean that is a dream school for you specifically. A dream school for this kid, and I took his name away just to not put him on blast totally. A dream school for this kid, we'll call him Mikey, is not going to be the same dream school that you as a viewer have. It should never be that way. So a lot of times when I look at these lists, I'll see that this green is full of Vanderbilt, UCLA, University of Tennessee, Arkansas, San Diego, LSU. And yes, those are dream schools, but I can tell you, in speaking about this athlete, this is not his dream. This is just a dream that he is reciting from somebody else. Because these are the top programs in the country, he thinks that that's his dream, and it's not. And if it was, I would see a little bit different work ethic from this kid. Um, and that's not a knock on him. He just has other things going on. He has other priorities. What I'm trying to get you to understand is the kid that gets the catcher that gets recruited to Vanderbilt or UCLA or all of these schools, his number one priority is baseball and becoming the best baseball player he could possibly be. So nothing else is getting in the way of that. So this whole rant is for me to say, when we're identifying our dream schools, we need to really think long and hard about what is a dream school specific to me. If I have the tools as well as the work ethic as well as the desire to go play at a high division 1, fine, we can put that in our dream school list. But if I want to use school, I want to use baseball to get a good education, and I want to just have a good baseball experience, and I understand that my tools probably aren't UCLA, University of Tennessee level, then I shouldn't just by default put these quote unquote dream schools for everybody in my list of dream schools. We need to think through these on a really deep level. So you need to start to think about, what kind of a college experience do you actually want? What kind of a baseball experience do you want? And then what are the sacrifices that you're willing to make to get these things, right? If you want to go play at Vanderbilt, well, you might need to grow 4 inches, put on 30 pounds, and throw 10 miles an hour harder. Are you willing to do that? Is it even possible for you to do that? I never want to cap what your potential is, but I want to be real with what it's going to take to get there. And if you say you're willing to do that, great. If you say you're not, great. I just want you to be honest with yourself as to what your dream is. So you should take time and really understand what is my dream, and then your list should be full of, those dream schools. Now, the yellow section is essentially our mid-tier schools. So the way that I explain the mid-tier schools is I put it in the perspective of myself. When I was coming up and getting recruited, I wanted to play Division I baseball. I had the tools to play Division I baseball. That was what I wanted to do. A dream school for me, because I grew up in the Midwest, would have been University of Illinois, okay, or like Indiana or something like that, like a Big Ten school where I knew I could play, and it was just pushing my comfort zone, to be a Big Ten athlete. That would have been like my dream. Now, for me, a mid-tier school would have been our state schools, right? Illinois State, which is where I ended up being a great baseball experience, but wasn't the big school experience that I thought I wanted, right? So a mid-tier school for me was Illinois State. But the way that I describe the mid-tier schools is, they're just a step down from your dream school, but they're still an amazing blessing and an amazing opportunity. So to fully understand your mid-tier schools, you need to understand what your dream schools are. So, like, for example, in this kid's list here, and if you know anything about college baseball, you know Kentucky's pretty good. You know Arizona State's pretty good. Chicago State is a D1 program in the south side of Chicago, and it makes me think, did this kid even put any research into his list? Because I grew up near Chicago State. We would play there, and Chicago State is kind of in the ghetto. And this kid that made this list is from Northern California. Like, he's never been to Chicago. So that's not a knock on Chicago State's program. They actually have a great baseball program, but it's not it wouldn't be considered a mid-tier school to a lot of Northern California kids. So just being real with yourself and actually like what you want, that's the best way to make your list. And the clearer we can be on what it is that we actually want, the clearer we can understand the path of what it's going to take to develop into that guy. But if we're setting goals that don't make any sense to us, then the work is always going to be confusing and we'll probably end up being more frustrated. So yeah, and then the end of this list, in red or pink or whatever you want to call this, these are our lower tier schools. When I say lower tier schools, I essentially want you to think about it as, if you're going into your senior year spring in high school and you only have one offer from one of these schools, would you still say yes to it? If you would still say yes to this school, then it belongs on this list. So this kid actually did a much better job of creating this part of his list. But for example, there are schools on here like Wheaton. And again, I'm a Midwest guy, so I know about some of these Midwest schools. But Wheaton is a really good Division III program, a very high academic program. And for the kid that made this list specifically, I would consider Wheaton for him more of like a dream school if they offer his major, if they have an opportunity to get playing time early. With what I know about this kid and the way that he works, to me, Wheaton would be like top of his list. So I think just applying the depth that is required to understand this list is going to be the best way to go about it. Now, if you're a catcher and you want to play college baseball, but this whole recruiting thing is foreign to you, and you don't know how to think about it, you don't know how to train, you don't know how to set targets. I have a program called the College Ready Catcher Program. I have it linked in the description of this video. You can go check that out. And if you guys like this style of video, where I'm just kind of sitting in front of the camera talking about things less polished, let me know. I'd be happy to post more stuff like this.